Okay, so this is just a huge opportunity for the Buccaneers pass catchers here, with Evans out for most, if not all, of the season. And Chris Godwin, yes, could be on his way back. But I think just looking at the chat, seeing some of the comments, I think people, and I'm kind of in this boat, I don't know what to expect from Godwin, and I have a fear that he's just not going to be that good. So, Jamie, how do you see this playing out? You're obviously expressing some caution in terms of picking up Otton and Tez Johnson. They have a bye in week 9. So maybe Godwin's back after that. Just your thoughts overall on what we're going to be seeing here, because obviously major opportunity and a great passing offense.
It might just be 1 week for them because Godwin could return after their bye week. And I think for a team that went into last night 5-1, now they're 5-2, you know what their aspirations are after the playoff runs that they've had the last couple of seasons. So my guess is they're going to be cautious with Godwin and make sure that he's right now, knowing that Mike Evans is out for potentially the entirety of the season or entirety of the regular season. So they're not going to risk Godwin coming back at less than 100%. So that could give Tez Johnson some more staying power. So I think as a short-term rental, at least for week 8 against the Saints, like you want to pick him up and he can potentially help you win a week. But I would assume, total assumption, that when Godwin's back, if he's healthy enough to play, he's going to play. And he's probably going to command 6 to 8 targets at worst. So where does Tez Johnson fall? And Dave mentioned the wild card in this, which I don't think a lot of people are factoring, is what happens if Jalen McMillan heals from his neck injury? He's going to be playing over Tez Johnson as well. So I wouldn't go crazy with, okay, is this a guy that can step into Mike Evans' role and be the savior? Now, he might, because you've had Godwin now 2 separate injuries, and they may do the same thing, is just continue to push, kick the can down the road and say we want to make sure he's ready for the playoffs because we know what he can do when healthy. But there's also Emeka Egbuka there, and Cade Otton led them in targets last night. So it's not like there's or tied for leading targets. It's not like there's not other options there where Tez Johnson is going to automatically command, the ability to dominate from a passing perspective.
And Dave, what are your thoughts?
I think we will see Egbuka and Tez on the outside the most for Tampa, and it'll be that way next week if Chris Godwin isn't back. And maybe even if Godwin is back, maybe they ease him in. I mean, Tez Johnson just offers that offense more speed. They've got it with Egbuka. Tez is making plays. I love the catch and run for a touchdown. It's a different way for him to score compared to last week with the deep ball. And so as long as they keep involving him, and he had 8 targets, we're talking about him not getting enough targets. He had 8 targets after Evans went down yesterday. And I just think that there will be an opportunity. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they're playing New Orleans this week. That's probably going to be a game where they don't trail. Yeah, I get where you might be worried about game script with Tez Johnson this week, but he's got one play boom upside. And so I'm willing to invest in that the same way that I'm willing to invest in Marvin Mims for the exact same reason.
Okay. It's a tough call. Johnson looks pretty fun out there. And man, Cade Otton is so good when Evans has been out. Well, he's number 2 in Jamie's waiver wire order. So
he's actually my favorite of the replacement tight ends for this week.
Yeah.
You'd start him over Gadsden, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing is with tight end is it does sort of feel like you can go week to week with that position. In anything, 10 teams, obviously, even 12 teams, my wife has Bowers on a bye and Darren Waller, and she's asking me, who should I pick up? And by the way, she's 7-0. It's kind of pissing me off.
Shocking.
Yeah. And I was like, pick up this guy, pick up this. Oh, wait, they're all available? I don't know. Well, just let me think about it. We could come back to that.
Well, that's the thing about spending fab on the 1 week replacement options. So you're down Bowers for several weeks, but clearly on a bye this week, even if he's healthy. You have Noah Laporta, you have Noah McBride. So there are a lot of people chasing that position for this week. And those managers have some options, but how much do you spend on fab for those guys versus the managers that need that position?
Yeah.
And how desperate are they going to be? So I think that the nice thing about it is you have Schultz and maybe you have Juwan Johnson back. And there's still Mason Taylor, who a lot of people are disgusted with, which I get. but now you're facing the Bengals, and it's a great setup.